Hi everybody, hope you're well. This video is requested by oreocatfat and this is my free 2016 passes video. So I'm going to be talking about how to get passes for free, how to buy passes, how to save up passes, and finally how not to get passes. Now if there's anything in this video you'd like to look at in more detail, I have several videos about each of these different things on the channel, and if you can't find them, just leave a message in the comments and I'll either find the video for you or I can make a video if it's not there. So starting off, what we'll first talk about is the pass for your reserve. So on your 50th day, you can get a pass for your reserve. So if we go down here, so buy a pass with my reserve. On your 50th day on Howrse, you can get a pass of 20% of your reserve every 30 days after that on the game. And then it'll tell you when your last purchase was with your reserve and how long you're going to have to wait. So I'd have to wait a little bit longer before I can get another pass with my reserve. Now, there's a couple of things to bear in mind with this. You have to log in a lot. Okay, so what I mean by this is some games you log in one day and then you log in months later, for example, and you've got 30 days. Howrse isn't like that. You'd have to log in every single day in order to get 30 days seniority. Just like if you wanted 200 days of seniority, you'd have to log in 200 days, so 200 times. And what I mean by that is once a day. Okay, so I've had I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer before I can get another pass, for example. So that's one of the things to bear in mind. It's not like some games where you don't have to log in. You do have to log in with Howrse. And the other thing I'll just mention this is if you have a lot of equus and you don't want to have to spend a lot to get your pass for your reserve, there's two things you can do. If you have a very small amount of equus, you can actually buy and sell fodder, because fodder to sell is 1E. And then to buy, it's 1E. So basically, it's equal. Say, for example, if you sold 10,000 fodder, and then you can buy 10,000 fodder back. So it's the exact same price, whereas it's not always the case with certain other items. So for example, if I go to buy some oats, which are 2 equus, if I go to sell some oats, so let's say, if I go to sell some oats, I only get 1, okay? But the great thing about fodder, and the other one being wheat bran, if I just show you. So wheat bran has a purchase and sale price, just like fodder does. So these two resources, you can use resources, which is wheat bran, and you can. The great thing about it is you can actually buy and sell up to 100,000 with it, but with fodder it's only 10,000. So if you have a small amount of equus, then you know you're probably going to use the fodder. But if you're working with larger numbers, then I would suggest the wheat bran. So they have a purchase and a sale price of 1 equus, so it's equal. You're not losing any money there, is what I'm saying. So that's one of the first things. So I'll go to the game help section here, and if we go to the breeder's manual, we want section 1.7, so passes. So we've covered this first one, which is your 50th day pass, and the next one I'm going to talk about is you can win passes if you put your horses up for sale in exchanges for passes and players buy them. So you can do this in 2 ways. So if we go to the Howrse sales, now you will need a certain amount of seniority to do this. So you need to have access to the reserved sales to put horses up. Sorry, not reserved sales. You need to have access to the direct sales and the reserved sales in order to sell horses for passes. So we'll just put up here to look for ones for passes. So you can sell horses if I was to advise what kind of horses to sell for passes, probably be unicorns or skillers. I find generally a lot of other ones don't tend to go for passes. Some coats do, so some golden apple coats will. But check your server and see what's selling, because it's going to be different. Now, some people can sell horses for passes in the auctions, okay, as you can see here, but that is a VIP perk, so I'll just quickly show you that. So if we have a look here, if you're a VIP or a Pegasus account holder, you can auction your horses for passes. So if you have access to Pegasus or VIP, that's great. If you don't, then you know it's not so great. So that's one of the other ways that you can earn passes, so by selling horses. So then this is the next one, pass horses. So pass horses, basically, if you get a horse to 30 years old and it then dies, you can send it to heaven. And you get 1 pass for each horse you send to heaven when they're over 30 years old if you have received less than 10 passes within that month. And then after once you get those 10 passes, then you have a 1 in 3 chance of getting a pass if you've got between 10 and 29 passes in that month using the system. And the rest of the time, if you didn't get a pass, you will receive a bonus product. So usually this is something like, for example, bell boots. I tend to not go past the first 10 horses. That's me personally, okay? So you will win nothing further if you've already won 10 passes this month using this system. So basically, if you want to make sure you're guaranteed to get 10 passes, then just send 10 to heaven. But after that, you've the 1 in 3 chance. So you could be really, really lucky and send exactly 30 horses to heaven and be really lucky and get a pass for every single one of them. But you could send 60 and you may not manage to get 30 passes. So that there is something just to be aware of that you can use. But it is quite good if you manage to get a good couple of horses. And I would advise anybody to get themselves some pass horses, or just slightly older horses, and age all your horses up slowly by day. And I have a more in-depth video on doing that, so go and have a look at that if you're interested in using that method. So we've had a look at the reserve pass for your reserve. We've had a look at putting your horses up for sale, and we've also had a look at pass horses. So the next thing I'm going to mention is promos. Now, I know the mini ride going on right now has absolutely nothing to do with passes, but there are some promos that will go on that do give you passes, such as the lottery. Now, when I say they do give you passes, there's a chance. So there's a jackpot, usually a divine and something else, usually Equus, and then maybe 5 passes is usually what you see. So if you want to buy tickets or whatever, there's a chance you could win the 5 passes. It's not guaranteed, it's just free passes that you might or may or may not get. So that's just something to be aware of. So then the other thing is player sponsorship. So if we go to community and invite players. So if you invite people to join the game, or they sign up and give you as a reference, basically you get 2,000 Equus for every guest invite who registers, and that's once every 24 hours, so to stop people spamming. If they complete the tutorial, then you get a Howrse rare. Now, if they buy their first pass, then you get a pass. So 1 pass every time one of your guests buys his or her first pass. Now, this is something I want to mention here. Cheating with sponsorships. Remember, the registrations are limited to 1 per player. You do not have the right to sponsor yourself in order to win gifts. Our cheating detection technology is very efficient. If you cheat, your account will be deleted without warning. So you can go and have a look there. If you want to invite a friend, you can put their email address in there and invite them to the game. So that's another way. The other thing is the divine. There's one divine in particular we'll have a look at now. So if we can find it, because I always tend to spell it wrong. So I'm going to go to the latest one. So the Howrse divine. So Howrses give passes. So we'll have a closer look at it. So Howrses divine horses produces money instead of droppings. On the 13th of every month at the site's update, Howrses will give its owner 1 pass, but only if the owner logged in the day before. If the 13th of the month falls on a Friday, Howrses will give its owner 2 passes. So every month, 1 horse among those named junior crosses is turned into crosses. So that horse cannot be sold. So all you have to do to have the ability to potentially win a Howrse divine is to copy that junior crosses there and basically go to one of your horses, and literally all you need to do is click on your horse, click edit profile, and click rename. Now that means you have a chance of getting a Howrse divine. Now I have a lot of horses named this, not because that increases my chances, it doesn't, but they're there and it means I have a chance at it. So you could have 1 on your account named junior crosses and get it, and somebody could have 1,000 and never get it. So that's something you can do, and there's a chance. Now, it's slow, obviously, because it's only once in a while that somebody gets one. So that's just something that's there that you can do. Now, the other thing I'm going to mention is divines that give diamonds. And the only reason I'm going to mention this is because there are certain things that you can use diamonds for in place of passes, because 10 diamonds are equal to 1 pass. So I'm just going to quickly go to my divines here. So I'm going to have a look at Sapphire here. So the thing about Sapphire is it gives Equus one day and then a diamond the next day. So I have to visit the person's page. Now there are lots of different divines out there that give diamonds, and you can go and have a closer look at the ones, because I have videos on that. So let's just quickly go to this page. So once I visit the page, there I've won a diamond. So if you want to get some divines that give diamonds, you can save up those diamonds and then use them in place of passes for certain things. Now you can't buy horses with them, but you can use them to get BM items and things like that. So it can come in quite handy. So then the other thing I'm going to mention is pass seeds. Now sadly I can't actually show you pass seeds because I did something really, really stupid the last time they were sold. Now, they've only been sold on UK, I think, 3 to 4 times, and there was a couple of months ago, it wasn't long ago, that those pass seeds up for sale. And I happened to sell all my pass seeds rather than buy them for the shop, so I actually have none left. I was absolutely furious because I did it by accident and I haven't got them reimbursed, which I was kind of annoyed about. But if you want to see how to use pass seeds, I have a video about pass seeds. So they're something that you can use, but you have to have certain amounts, and you also have to have a certain size of acre meadow. So go have a closer look at that if you want. But it takes 30 days and it only grows 1 pass, so it's not exactly great. It sounds fantastic. You think you can grow passes, but you only get 1 pass and it takes a whole month and it destroys your meadow fertility. So it's quite heavy duty, to be honest. So the other thing I want to mention is the fibre offers, and we will have a closer look at those now. So for a while there we were going to lose the fibre offers, and now they are staying. So there are this is going to something I'm going to point out. Make sure that you go to the right one, because this one here, complete a partner offer and pass, is the one below it about videos is only Equus. So what you can do is you click on one of these, and there are a load of different offers that come up, and you can tells you how many passes you can get, and usually it'll tell you how long. So an offer reports on 15-minute delay, for example. So passes are awarded when you complete your valid registration. So there are usually a lot of rules and regulations around this. Now, something I'm going to just mention with this is, if you're going to do the pass offers with the fibre or any of the other ones that are there, I would highly advise that you create a separate email. So I tried this lately to see if this actually works. So I made a separate email that wasn't because my real one, because I thought to myself, I don't want a load of spam coming through, because that potentially could happen if I sign up to do one of these surveys. So I created a separate email that I would use purely for that. And I tried to do a bunch of the surveys. Now, there was plenty of surveys I tried and didn't get any passes for. Now, the reason that this happens, and quite often it's really, really irritating, is because you'll do part of the survey, and then what they'll decide is that you're not the sort of person that they wish to survey. So then they'll say, you know, thanks, but you're not the participant we wanted, and they'll boot you out of the survey. You don't get your passes, you've wasted your time, and you're probably furious. And that happened to me before. So it's hit and miss, I will say, that there are some of those that you're going to have to be really careful. Now, I was really lucky with the survey a while ago, I'm thinking, because I tried about 5 surveys and finally I got one that worked, and it gave me 6 passes. Now, this is going back quite a while ago now, maybe a couple of weeks ago, but it was very good. It did actually give me the passes in the end. So what I would say is, be aware of kind of what they're asking, you know, and you know, I would have a separate email for it as well. Now, there are other things there that you have to pay for, so you have to go and pay to subscribe to. So if you go to pay to subscribe or sign up to one of these things, you're going to need a valid credit card or something like that. And just be aware that if you want to cancel it, make sure you cancel it, because you don't want to get charged then whenever it requires afterwards. So say, for example, you signed up to that, it's going to charge you probably monthly after that. So be aware of those things, and, you know, do sign off them if you are going to use them. So what I would do is, if you want to use the fibre offers, check them, you know, every couple of days or every day, and have a look through, because they'll change. Sometimes they'll disappear and so forth. And there are some of the good ones go really quick because there'll be a lot of people. Now, one of the things I'll say, some people have told me that they can't see any of the offers at all. This might be because you're of the country that you're in. It could be to do with age. There's a couple potential things that could be the reason you can't see it. So I'm not sure which countries these offers all cover, but just be aware of that they're not necessarily everything. But there are a couple of ones. So there's Supersonic, there's Super Rewards by Perk, there's Fibre, Matinee Media Group, and Wobi as well. So there's a couple of different ones being on offer there. But I noticed some of them kind of cross over quite a lot. So that's a lot about the fibre, but I wanted to kind of cover that. So the final thing I want to talk about is the purchase of passes. So if you want to go and purchase passes, you need to select what country you're in, and that will change the methods of buying. So you can buy them with text, you can buy them loads of different methods. If you click on them, you'll be able to see exactly what you can use. So once you click on that, it'll take you to the methods of payment, and then you can go through and confirm all that. So I'll just go back and I'll click another one. So it'll be different for different ones. So for example, the income prepaid card there wasn't available for 100 passes, so the methods of payment are different. So for example, the 1 pass one, there's loads of different options for that, and some of them are more expensive than others. Now, one thing I'll mention this is the pass UFOs, and the reason I'm going to mention pass UFOs is because pass UFOs catch people out sometimes. So there's a couple of different pass UFOs that jump around. You can get the +1, +2, +5, and +10. So the +1 can be used on the 1 pass offer, and the +2 can be used on the 1 pass, but the +5 has to be used on at least 10 passes or up. The +10 has to be used on 20 passes or up. So just make sure you read the fine print. Usually you have only 30 minutes, I think, to use it. It might have become an hour, but I think it's only 30 minutes. And you certainly have to buy a certain amount of passes before some of them are valid. So don't make the mistake of being like, oh, I've got a +10 and then go buy 1 pass, because you're not going to get those free 10 passes for buying 1 pass. You're just not. That's not the way Howrse works. So just be aware of that. Read the small print with pass UFOs, because I've seen people get caught out with them, and if you complain about it, Howrse isn't going to listen. So that is how to get free passes and how to buy passes. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is ways to save. So if you want to save up passes, and this is probably one of the hardest things to do, I think you need to first off set a goal, and then you need to be strict about it, because at the end of the day, if you decide, okay, I want 100 passes within a month's time, you're going to have to decide what you're going to do to get those 100 passes by the end of the month. So there's no point just saying, oh, I'm going to get 1,000 passes and then not do anything about it, or not set small-term goals, because that's a long-term goal to get 1,000 passes. So you're going to have to be active and think about things and really be strategic. The other thing is that I'm going to sort of mention is, whenever you're deciding to spend your passes, really think about, is it worth it? Because one of the things I think that so many people get caught out with, they get their first pass and they just go immediately spend it. And my honest advice is, if you're going to spend your first pass, spend it on something that you can get a return on, whether you are able to get a pass back exactly, or whether you're able to get 2 passes back or more. Because if you invest your passes to make yourself more passes, then you will usually, it'll work out quite well in the end. So that's something I wanted to mention with passes when you're trying to save them up. So make sure to be aware also that some people in the game like to spend passes to make equus, and vice versa. Some people like to spend equus to make passes. So you need to be thinking, whenever you're selling horses, for example, that different players out there are going to want to purchase horses for different prices. So if I go back to when I used to be obsessed with having the most equus on the game, and this is going back a really long time ago, because now I hardly ever have them over 10k, I used to spend passes to make equus. So I was more likely to spend passes making skillers and then sell those skillers for equus rather than passes. Whereas now it would be the other way around. So if you're selling horses, bear in mind that, say for example, I was selling 3 skillers and they're all the same, okay? I would want to, in my head, think, right, maybe I'll sell one for 3 passes, I'll sell another one for 2 passes, and let's say I valued a pass at 100k, okay? So I would sell the second one for 2 passes and 100k, and then I would maybe sell the last one for 300k, okay? Because I want to appeal to a player who just wants to spend passes, a player that wants to spend a bit of each, and a player who wants to just spend equus. So that, usually will sometimes work out better. Now, sometimes it might be better to put out the one for passes first, see if that sells, then put out the one that's middling, and then put out the next one. It just depends what you want to make. I wouldn't necessarily put them all out at the same time, depending on what you want to achieve. But that's just something that can be a good idea to pay attention to what kind of players are on your server and what they tend to spend, whether they tend to spend equus or passes, because being aware of that, can be quite useful to you. The other thing is, focus on divines that give you items that are useful, or give you passes, or give you diamonds, because one of the biggest, I think, wastes of time for me has been spending passes on divines that don't actually give me anything, or divines that give me very little. And I have a lot of divines like that, but some of them give me perks which are really useful in the long run. But really think about what divine you're spending on. Now it can be nice, like I have the snowflake divine and I love that divine just because of how it looks, and I don't regret that. It's a very pretty divine, but there are a lot of divines out there that are a waste of space. So I think really pay attention with what you're investing your passes in, and really think, right, say for example there's a divine in the sales. Actually there was a divine in the sales, I'm not sure if it's still there now. Well, I think it was Howrse was in the sales for a while there, and it was 20 passes, and I looked at it and I went, no, that's not worth 20 passes, because it would give me an agent point, I think skill points or something else, and I thought to myself, that's not worth me investing 20 passes in, so I didn't buy it. So think about what you're putting your passes into. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to talk about this, and people are probably sick to the teeth of me saying about this, but I want to mention this because I have noticed the amount of videos on YouTube going up of people scamming other people, you know, through these pass and Equus cheats and hacks and things. So here's the things not to do to gain passes, unless you want to get in trouble, okay? Because usually eventually you get caught doing this. So these are the things I don't advise doing, and I'm telling you not to do them because you probably don't want to get yourself banned, okay? I don't think most people want to get banned. So you can't sell, since October 2014, okay, you cannot sell BMI items on the game for passes. If you're caught doing so, you'll get in major trouble. The other thing is you can't offer services for passes. So for example, if you said on your page that you would block a horse for somebody, for a pass, okay, you would be in trouble for that as well, okay? You're not allowed to do that. You can't run competitions with passes as prizes any longer. I know that sucks, but it does. You're not allowed to. You can't kill off-pass horses for other players. A lot of people do this, and I still see some people doing it, but if you get caught doing it, it's, you know, it's between you and horse what happens. The next thing is the pass cheats and the hacks, and the reason I'm going to mention this is because I've seen more than a couple of videos flagged up recently that people were asking people to send them their email, their horse login, their horse name, and they would then give them 300 passes and, like, you know, a bazillion Equus, or maybe 500 passes or whatever, 100. And people were getting scammed. People were genuinely giving these people their login details. If you in any way get a video or anything else where somebody says, I need your login details and I will give you all the passes in the world, I'm sorry, but that is a scam. They're going to steal everything, okay? And there's not anything Howrse can do for you. There's nothing any mod can do for you. As far as Howrse will be concerned, it was your fault because you provided them your login details. So do not, under any circumstance, give people those things, because I went across and looked at some of these videos, and the amount of people that were getting scammed was horrendous. And I just couldn't believe that some people were doing it. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. And I can't say this enough. Don't give anybody at all your login or your password. There is absolutely no reason to do that. It's like handing them your house keys and saying, go on in. You know, they'd steal your house. So don't do it, okay? I can't stress that enough. So if you get directed to any website or get told to email them, or even in a Howrse PM as well, if anybody asking for your login, do not give it to them. Report it, okay, or flag it or whatever, but don't do it. Because I know that these videos look all fancy because you're like, they actually have suddenly got 500 passes and like a million Equus. It is very easy for people to make videos like that and to make it look like that. So don't fall for it, okay? Believe me, if there was a way that I knew that I could give people genuinely a million passes and a million Equus in the snap of a finger by pressing one button, I would tell you, but it's not real, okay? If it was actually genuine and it was real and you were allowed to do it, I would tell you how to do it, but it's not real, okay? So I'm going to stop ranting about this now because I was getting really annoyed because of the amount of people that were getting scammed about this. But anyway, thank you to oreocatfat for requesting a video. I hope you had a lovely day, guys. Bye.